Alright, so this week we are putting some tile backsplash and some wallpaper into our kitchen. Stay tuned and see how easy this is. Alright, so our first step is going to be to cover this row of foam that goes all the way around under our cabinets. And for that I've cut a piece of a strip. I've actually cut two of them because, let's see, is this going to be, I'm going to use two. I want to meet it in the corner. Make sure that you cut this with your faux wood grain going the lengthwise. And I'm going to fold over about that much. It doesn't need to be very much. I'm going to run a bead of tacky glue right along there and up just a little ways because I don't want to have white showing in the corner. And 1/4 inch should be just about right to cover our foam core. If need be, I can trim it off from the back after it gets dry. And I'm going to trim this after my glue dries. I'm not going to try and trim it now. So trying to work around the tripod is going to be a joy. And I am going to have to trim, but that's fine. So I can get it up. There. Now that it's straight, I don't have much to trim. Now I do need to cut this second piece into two pieces so that I can glue one here and the rest here. Overlap that, and I'm going to glue this here. Back on my glue, and it's just easier to trim everything up once it's done, once the glue's dry. So I am going to leave this to dry, and when it's dry, I'll come back and we'll trim it to size. Alright, so our glue has dried actually for a couple of days because I had to take a couple of days off of this project. So now I'm going to try and get under the camera. Use my scissors. I'm going to use a combination of my scissors and a knife and get this trimmed so that it's level. I want it flush with the bottom of my cabinets. And that's going to mean turning this in all directions and kind of looking at it and turning it around and looking at it again. So I'm going to go through. And you'll find that parts of this are going to be in your way. You'll just have to work around your project. Let's see if I can get this from here. So we made it a little wide. I made it a little bit wide so that I could trim it to size rather than trying to make sure it was the exact size and having to have it perfectly on. I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to finish trimming this because your view sucks anyway, and I'll be right back. Alright, so the next step we're going to do is create our tile for our tile backsplash in our kitchens. And for those of you that have been following my channel, this is going to be somewhat familiar because we've done tile like this before. We're just going to make a smaller grid. So what I have here, some soft gloss photo paper. It's instant dry. I like this better. Some people use gloss cardstock. I actually prefer the photo paper for this. And this is my Martha Stewart scoreboard. I've done a tools video on this tool and I love this thing, and it is so handy for this. Now if you don't have one of these or you don't want to make tile, you could just put a faux painted wall behind your kitchen cabinets. That's cool. And in fact we're going to do that behind where the refrigerator is going to sit and down on the bottom part of the wall behind where the stove will eventually go. So I'll show you how to do that too, but I want to put tile above the counters all the way around the room. So I've got my scoreboard, I've got the little bone folder that comes with it. I'm going to start at the 1/4 inch mark, and I'm going to, oops, that's the 1/2 inch mark. I want to start at the 1/4 inch, doesn't matter where you start. And I am going to, every 1/4 inch. Alright, so I ended up doing 2 sheets because I had several places where I ended up sliding off my my row on my scoreboard. So I know I won't be able to use all of either sheet, but this is always handy to have on hand. And I also tore it with the tape. I did find taping it down did help a lot. So we are going to color our tile now. I went through my Distress ink little cubes here, and I picked out 3 colors I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using Scattered Straw, Wild Honey, and Vintage Photo. I'm going to start with the darkest one first. And the thing I love about using this paper, if this was a regular paper, I would have to start with my lightest color and work darker because I don't want to contaminate my lighter colored ink pads. Because this dries immediately, I can go in with the dark one first, and I can just do it just a little bit. I don't want very much of the dark color, and I do have a piece of paper, just printer paper on my desk, just to protect the surface of my desk. I'm going to make kind of a, I don't know what you would call this design. What I did was I got online and I looked at tile backsplashes for inspiration. Whoops. I think my ink pad is starting to get dry because it's sticking every once in a while, but that's okay because it's just the first layer. As I get more ink on here, you will see where I made my mistakes with my, like right there. Right there. Now I've got the Wild Honey. This one looks really orange when you start out, but we're going to go over it with the lighter color. But I want to get kind of a, not really a fake sandstone, but like just a nice warm color, kind of to go with the colors of the walls in the room box that we built. Okay, now you really can see my mistakes. Pretty sure I got this photo paper, by the way, at Dollar Tree, so be sure and check there. It makes it a lot more affordable. Oops, stayed too long in that spot. If you stay too long, you will get a block shape. Alright, so this is all trimmed down now. And while it's sitting up like this, you see every flaw, but when you put it in the room box and look at it correctly, it looks really good. So I also drew some lines on my walls. I drew a dotted line here, I drew in these spaces, and I drew a line across here. That's because our next step is to put our tile in that we made. And we're not going to cover the entire space with tile. Like, this is where my refrigerator is going to sit. I'm not going to put tile behind the refrigerator. These are my cabinets. I'm not going to put tile behind them. I'm not going to put tile here behind the stove. I'm going to put tile in this space. And then we're going to put our cabinets over these areas and something else here. And then we'll be wallpapering here, here, and the back and up here. To wallpaper it, I've got just some scrapbook paper in a cream. I was hoping to wallpaper it in the same paper that I had used in the room box, but they were out of that when I went to get more. So I'm just going to use a cream color. It'll be fine. Not a lot of it will show, so it'll be good. So I'm going to get my tile cut and prepared to put in to this space. And at the same time that we do the tile here, we're going to do this wallpaper here, and this piece, and this piece. And we're going to cover the back. That's because I don't want this to warp. And if I don't put something on the front and the back, it could warp the foam core. So my job right now is to go and get my tile pieces cut to go in here, and to get paper cut to go in here here, and here. I've got to remember where I'm putting it. So I'll be back when those are cut. Alright, so I have my stack of pieces cut. I'm going to actually start with the back side, and I'm probably going to do this off camera because this is going to be really hard to see. But what I'm going to do, I've got 2 pieces cut for the back side. I have a piece cut to fit the wall, but I'm having it hang over on the top. That way I can trim it after the glue dries. And then I cut a second piece that will fold over, and I scored the corner with my scoring tool. So I'm going to get these 2 glued on off camera, then I'll come back and we'll put the stuff on the kitchen side of our kitchen. Alright, I decided to just do one wall at a time so I can actually weight. Whoops, I got stuff on there. So I can actually put some weight on this also to also help it to keep from warping. So I have a piece of paper cut to go in here. And I'm cutting these so they're just a little bit long if they go against the wall, so that I can cut them after the fact. After they get all dried, then I can cut them. And I'm trying to work fairly quickly because I want to make sure everything stays wet, and I get, if there's a little gappage, that's okay, we can fix that later. And then I also have a piece of paper for here, and I'm only going to do the one side. I'm not going to do the side that goes. Alright, so that first wall has had a couple hours to dry. I've been out for my daily walk, and it's time to move on now. Hopefully it's dry enough it won't warp. So pull some glue down there. I think I'm going to do this piece next. And work a tile in there. Let's cut just a little bit short. Hopefully that will fudge over. I think I will probably put what looks like a trim strip on the ends of the tile anyway, and also in the corner. Because in a real home, I think you would. I'll have to check some pictures of tile. And put some here where the refrigerator is going to go. And once again, I did cut this one wide so that, oops, I want to, a little bit higher up than that. Get that right where I want it. And that now needs some weight on it. I need to wash my brush again, and when this is dry we'll take a look at it and we'll do some trimming. Alright, so the glue I think is finally dry. It is so cold and damp that this glue is taking forever. So what I need to do now is I need to go along and cut everything even with the foam core. And I think I'm going to have to do this off camera because I don't know that I can do it. I don't think I can do it where you guys are going to see everything. There. And if there's spots that are pulling away, I'll show you how we'll deal with that. So let me get this trimmed back so that it's even with the foam core edges, and then I'll be back. Alright, so everything is trimmed down the way I want it for right now. And so now we're going to fill these gaps. We've got a small gap here where my tile was just a little short. That's okay, we can fill it. And we're going to fill this corner here. And to do that, I made a corner trim piece, or a trim strip. And what I did, I took a piece of the same photo paper and I treated it exactly like I did the tile. I just didn't score it first, so I've got a nice clean looking strip. Then I cut off a 1/4 inch wide strip of it. I folded it down, and I'm going to put this here. I'm going to make myself a mark just about where the top of that tile comes, and I'm going to cut it off. Now, I have just some tacky glue over here off to the side. I'm going to use that to glue this down. I'll spread it on the back with a toothpick. Since we're doing such a small area, that's fine. Remember, we sprayed this with a sealer so that our ink won't run when we're getting the paper wet. All right. Put this here. Get another clean toothpick. I'm going to use a toothpick to maneuver this into the corner. And now it just looks like a trim strip. Alright, I've left it in with my paper cutter. So, I cut a piece, it's about a little more than 1/8 of an inch wide, and what we're going to do is just glue it right to that corner. Just as close as we can, and that will cover. My real kitchen cabinets actually have a strip like that in the corner. So I figure that's the best way to do this. So tuck that in as tight as you can get it. I'm going to line it up at the bottom and someplace. I'm going to use a toothpick to shove it down as tight into the corner as I can get it. That way it covers up that seam. And don't worry that we've got, there's a little bit more, I need a little more glue there. Don't worry that we got glue on our counters. Our cabinets, we are going to be putting a coat of Mod Podge over these when everything is done. So that will disguise any glue spots that we get. So we don't have to worry about that. So let's cut that off even. And that, whoops, that is as far as we're going to get this week. I would like to have gotten further. We want one more thing. I do want to, if you've got spots like this, when you come back, like my back paper did not adhere, just use a toothpick, and you can either use your same wallpaper paste you used or just some tacky glue.